This is a video tour of my Carputer system done from inside my car, so you can have a first-hand look at my Carputer system. Now, I've been working on this project on and off for, well, almost 2 years now, but it's only been within the last week or two I felt that it's achieved the stage I've really been aiming for all along, and that is really to integrate the Carputer into the car at such a level where I don't have wires running all over the place, and it's intelligent enough to really work with the car rather than being an optional extra which I have to turn on and off, interface with in a strange way and all that kind of thing. Okay, firstly let's have a look at all the main components that are installed currently, and I'll give you a quick tour around the main Carputer system. Okay, firstly we've got the monitor here. Now this is a nice Zanark model. It is a touchscreen, but unfortunately the touchscreen has since stopped working, which is a major pain in the butt, and the main driving reason I developed my voice command system, which I'm glad I did because it's become very useful. So that's a great little monitor there. Maximum resolution, well, it runs 1024 by 768, which is great, but I personally run it at 800 by 600 just so I can read it all at a glance. Right, and that monitor is the primary means for seeing information. And then, if you can see that little white cable there, which runs into the glove box, where the Carputer is, that runs on there, underneath the pedals, up the door frame here, and comes out just here by the sun visor. And that's a nice little microphone connected directly into the Carputer, and that allows me to interface with the Carputer's voice recognition system, which I'll be demonstrating later. Okay, so now if we open the glove box we can take a look at the actual Carputer unit. Just move into a better position. Now, when I originally started this this project, the main driving force behind it was that VIA introduces Mini-ITX form board, which is very tiny, which makes it ideal for putting in the car. It comes feature packed. I mean, at the time it had unbelievable amount of things crammed into it, built-in networking, video out, sound built in. You know, it's a very flexible little board. And the last major feature of it is that it doesn't consume much power, which makes it ideal for having in the car, because although I could put well, a Pentium 4 in here if I really wanted to, it would drain a lot of power, and that's not what I want to strive for. So we can see it there, and this is the 800 MHz version, one of the initial ones. I opted for it over the 533 version just because that's a fair bit faster, and the only downside is it's got a little fan on it to keep the processor cool, which is very quiet anyway. And in fact, on another one of these same boards I've got in my house, I've removed the fan heatsink and stuck on my own larger passive heatsink, and so it's a totally silent system, and I've had it running for over 2 weeks now non-stop, and it's not had a problem, so that's a solution if you want to try that. Okay, now one of the main reasons I've managed to get the entire Carputer into this glove box is because of the power device. As you can see at the back there, now I think I'll focus on there, is the heatsink to the very intelligent power switching device. What that finally lets me do is directly connect in the car's 12 volts DC supply, and also wire in a line for the ignition. So what that little board there does is it detects when the car starts, and then as soon as it's finished cranking, it sends a command to the computer to tell it to start up, which is great because normally if you have your computer wired up to start as soon as the ignition goes on, then I'm sure, as a lot of you have experienced, the computer won't start because there's a drop in voltage and it just isn't enough. So thanks to this great device here, it not only regulates the 12 volt supply to make sure not too much power goes in the computer, it also only fires it up when the engine's finished cranking, which is great. And of course the other great feature of this little board is it will switch off the computer for you. So when you turn off the ignition, it won't just cut the power straight away, it will send a command to the motherboard to tell it to shut down, and then after 45 seconds it will kill the power. So your computer should have adequate time to shut down. So it's a great solution because thanks to this board now I can finally integrate the Carputer with my car to such a level where I don't have to even think about it anymore. As soon as I start the engine, it's running. As soon as I switch it off, it shuts down itself automatically. So now this truly is an integrated solution, and I'm very happy about that. And like I said earlier, this is something which only happened recently. When I originally started this project, I was using a 150 watt inverter connected to a 120 watt power supply, standard PSU you see in most desktop PCs, and that worked, but the inverter and the PSU were extremely bulky. In fact, there's no way I could have fitted just those two components in this glove box. So thanks to this little smart power board there, and in fact there's another little circuit board you can just see there which is connected directly into the ATX power header on the motherboard. Those two tiny components replace the massive, bulky, inefficient equipment I was using to start this project, so that's great. Alright, and another recent addition is this FM modulator that allows me to connect up the stereo out of the Carputer into this FM modulator, which then directly goes into my car's head unit, which gives me FM quality stereo sound output, which is fantastic, because before that I had to use a standard CD to cassette converter. So I had a little cassette in the front of the head unit then, which supplied the audio, which, as I'm sure most of you can appreciate, is far from ideal. So that little component too there is a massive leap forward, and I've wired that into the ignition rail, so the FM modulator is only powered when the car's running. And then finally, the other thing in here, which you can't see very well because it's concealed behind all the wires, is the hard drive, and that's wrapped in air bubble foam packing. Now, a concern of mine and lots of other people was that doing so would trap in a lot of heat which would damage the hard drive. But thankfully, so far in my experiences, it hasn't seemed to damage it at all, and a little bit of testing, the temperature reading I've done, has told me that the drive doesn't really get that much hotter. It doesn't seem to really insulate the heat in that much. But it does provide very good protection from shocks and being in the car, as it's been in the car now for, well, almost 2 years, and the hard drive's working perfectly still, so it's a very good solution as far as I'm concerned. And there you go, and that concludes the tour of the current Carputer state. Now, as I said previously, I've been working on this for a long time, and I've used a lot of components in that time, but at the moment I'm quite happy with the current level of integration and the fact that there aren't that many components. Now, what you may have noticed is that there's no keyboard or mouse plugged in there. Now, the mouse didn't used to be a problem when the touchscreen was working, but sadly that's no longer an option. But what I do have tucked under the seat here, if I can just pull them out, is a miniature keyboard and, if I can just find it, a little mouse there. So if I do ever need to use a keyboard input, I can just connect in the keyboard and the mouse, and away I go. So I've still got the flexibility of a normal computer there. I'm not just limiting myself to the voice input, but as 99% of the time when I'm driving, I'm just using the voice input through the microphone there. It's not a problem. I just drive along, talk to the Carputer, and away I go. And I'll be demonstrating that in a while. And that concludes the tour. Right, what I'm going to demonstrate now is the power regulation and ignition detection board powering up the computer. So as soon as I turn on the ignition here, what should happen is the computer will wait 5 seconds and then turn itself on. So I'm just going to turn on the ignition now, keeping the camera on the monitor, and you should see it appearing to life. And hopefully, if I've left the radio station on the right station, it will come in with the audio as well. So here we go. There we go, the ignition started. Computer's turned on. And there we go, the beep from it, so we know the audio is working. And if we just focus on the screen, there we go, we can see it starting up, starting Windows. Also in a second you'll be able to see the nice new blue screen I've put on. Here we go. There we go. To replace the standard Windows 2000 side screen. I thought it really is a part of the car now. It's about time I made a nice little screen for it. I'm actually trying to get the hibernation mode working, which will mean that the Carputer will start up much faster. But there seems to be a few conflicts with my voice command program and Winamp, so when the Carputer comes out of hibernation it will just hang. So I'm going to keep away at that to get that working, because hibernation would be much preferable than starting from fresh every time. But as you can see, the boot up time's not too bad, because normally by the time I've reversed out my drive it's started and ready. Here we go, the voice command software started. And that's a new feature I've built into the voice command software. As soon as it's loaded it plays that sound there, which of course you can easily change because all the Carputer, all the voice recognition sounds are just WAV files in a subdirectory. And there you go. Right, what I'm going to demonstrate now is the voice command system. So as you can see there, it's listening the whole time, standing by. Now all I have to do is say the keyword command, and then as soon as I've done that it will listen for a keyword. Now the main thing I can use this for is say one of these songs is found here, one of these artists, and as soon as I do that it will start playing it. So let's give it a shot.
Command Moby.
And there we go, so we've got a confirmation beep and it starts by Moby. Now a recent feature I've built into the voice command software is that as soon as it hears the keyword command it will mute the sound, which will increase the chances of a successful recognition on the next word, because obviously when the music's playing quite loud it makes it a lot more difficult for the software to detect what you sound properly. So let's give that a quick go.
Command Travis.
And you can see there, as soon as I said the command, it's muted the sound, and then when I heard an accepted word, it went away and played the song. Alright, let's demonstrate a few more features of the voice command software.
Command Pause.
And there we go, Winamp's paused.
Command Play. Command Play.
There we go. Slight problem there, but it's not perfect.
Command Next.
And there's the next track.
Command Previous.
Now we're back to the previous track. And another feature of this software I've built in is the ability to pick a random track. So let's just try that.
Command Random.
And there we go, let's pick the random artist, and away it goes. And one more time.
Command Random.
And there you have it, another random track. So that's another nice little feature there. So if I don't want to listen to anybody in particular, I just want to listen to some new music, I can just ask for a random track to be played.
Command